Tonight. I wanted to make a few notes and talk to everybody about a few things tonight. One of the things I want to talk about is legacy. And I've been talking to some of the Grandmasters during this weekend, and we discussed a lot of different things, and I want to share that with you. We want to make sure that you understand what we think, so we're all on the same page. So let's talk about what kind of a legacy will you leave behind for the art of Taekwondo. That's a question we should ponder. Another thing is the next generation prepared to leave a legacy for Taekwondo? And that next generation, some of you are right here. And the third thing I wanted to say is, does the next generation have the necessary training to become a qualified instructor? I had the privilege to speak with Grandmaster Scott McNeely today for a long period of time, and we talked about what is a qualified instructor, because everybody has a different idea. And it's funny, I read an article in a Black Belt magazine some years back, and I thought it was very impressive, so I copied it and put it on this paper, and I'm going to read this to you. In this article in the Black Belt magazine, it says, out of 100% of the students studying Taekwondo today, only about 10% are taught by qualified instructors. What about the other 90% of the students that are being taught Taekwondo? From the viewpoint of Grandmasters, we see things a little different. We see that the other 90% are taught in three different categories. We think first, 30% of the students that are studying and being taught Taekwondo are being taught by a novice, first dan black belt that hasn't received any kind of instructor training program. We also see that 30% of the other students also being taught Taekwondo today, that the black belts are just working out with the students, not supplying their needs in order to go forward. And then the final 30%, we find out that the students studying Taekwondo are being taught fighting skills only, tournament skills only, street fighting only, a curriculum that does not allow them to go forward in the martial art. So perhaps, as I talk to the Grandmasters today, we want to share this with you. Perhaps what we need is something like an instructor development course for young black belts coming up. And what would something like that look like? Perhaps that needs to entail some of the skills that they're going to have in order to run a successful school. First thing they need to learn as a new black belt is to understand their proper student-instructor relationship. Maybe something else would be proper Taekwondo etiquette, customs. What about consistency with their basic commands? How many times have we gone into schools and we see one day they say the commands one way, and another day they'll say the commands a different way? I think that might only confuse the students. Maybe they need to learn how to create a lesson plan. That's unique. What is a lesson plan? A lesson plan is something that the instructor sets out for the class that he's getting ready to teach that meets not only the wants of the students, but also meets their needs so they can go forward to their next rank. Maybe they need to also learn something like how to stimulate interest in that new student, how to stimulate comprehensiveness and creativity. The mistakes they need to make in your school under your tutelage. If they get in and open up a new school on their own without this training, they're going to fail. And they need to learn how to develop motivation and drive in the student. How can they do that? Learning the difference between the slump and the plateau phenomenon. Know how to get that student out of that. Learn how to increase retention in the class so far as attendance. And maybe stop some of that attrition in class, people just quitting. I hear people all the time where I'm at in the Charlotte area of North Carolina saying, we're signing up 30 students a month. But in real life, they're losing 40 students a month. So they're going backwards. Maybe they need to recognize the curriculum that they're doing is it rank appropriate? I see so many yellow belts trying to do techniques that should be scheduled for a red belt class. But are we doing them a disservice by doing that? There's so many things that they need to learn, so we decided to get together as Grandmasters and try to come up with a plan for an academic program. Maybe something would be a 12-month program when someone makes first degree black belt. They could take an academic program once a month, along with their physical training, to help them become a better black belt and a better instructor. So I ask you again, what kind of legacy are you going to leave behind? I'd like to read you a legacy of somebody I think that left something that really impressed me. This is a legacy for the person that named the art Taekwondo. His name is General Choi Hung-hee. It says, the life of a human being, perhaps 100 years, can be considered a day when compared to eternity. Therefore, we mortals are no more than a simple traveler who passes through the eons of time. It is evident that no one can live an unlimited amount of time. Therefore, it's foolish that people enslave themselves in materialism and that they can live like they can live 1,000 years. But yet there's some other people that strive to bequeath a good legacy for coming generations. In this way, they gain immortality. Obviously, the spirit is perpetual while material is not. Therefore, what we can leave behind, sometimes something for the next generation, is perhaps the most important thing we can do. And under this, that General Che wrote, I thought was so important. This is what he wrote. Here I leave Taekwondo for mankind, as a trace of a man of the late 20th century. The 24 patterns represent 24 hours in a day, or one day, or my entire life. So I ask you again, what legacy are we going to leave behind? As I look out through the people that are here today, I see the many sacrifices and many achievements that many have made here today. I have a question. Sitting here today, who is going to be the next Grandmaster Jeff Delaney? Who is going to be the next Grandmaster Scott McNeely? Who is going to be the next Grandmaster Troy Trudeau? It's up to you. In closing, I'd like to say this. As the Grandmasters, we talked today, and over the last couple of days, we come to this conclusion. As master instructors in the art of Taekwondo, we are not defined by the many medals, trophies, and awards that we receive during our lifetime, but rather by the inspiration and the investment that we make in the students for the future of the martial arts. And I want to leave you with this. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. Thank you, and God bless you.